You may know that there was some delays in the vaccine procurement by the Government of Canada. Presently, there's 2 vaccines available, Pfizer and Moderna. These are vaccines that have to be kept at a very, very, very low temperature. So we do not have the equipment in the community to store that vaccine. So we have to work in partnership with the Lambton Health Unit. A third vaccine, AstraZeneca, should be approved soon, and that's a single dose vaccination. The only problem with that is that it's not approved for people over 65. So what we're planning to do is we've been working with the Lambton Health Unit for a few weeks now. So we plan to vaccinate the healthcare staff. We're going to be getting 100 doses from Lambton Health Unit after that, and we want to use that based on community priority. Today, the chief and I met with Sean Baptiste, the Deputy Minister of Indigenous Affairs, and he assured us that vaccine will be flowing more freely and that at least 1,800 doses will be available for our on-reserve adult population. We strongly told him today that we plan on vaccinating as many of our members wherever they live, and we will continue to do so as long as we can keep getting the vaccine. So with the 1,800 doses, I was talking with the health unit and several other community partners today. What I think our best option would be to have a mass clinic over a period of 3 days and try to vaccinate at least, get out at least those 1,800 doses. So we're going to look for partnerships within our community, not just our Walpole Island community, but the Lambton County community. We'll be looking for help with nursing support from Blue Water Health, Lambton Public Health, SOHAC has offered assistance, Lambton EMS. We can also look to FNIB, and I'm also meeting with the Chatham-Kent Community Health Center. So hopefully we can do a big clinic at the arena. So what I was wondering from Chief and Council is there are questions that come up when we're sequencing these vaccines. I don't really think, like we've reviewed this several times with the other First Nations and within our own health center, we don't really want to say, well, diabetes trumps cancer and that trumps someone who's having an amputation or something like that. So we're looking primarily at age groups. So we're going to hopefully roll it out 80 years old and above, 70 years old to 80 years old, that kind of priority sequencing. But with those first 100 doses, I was kind of looking for council input about, do we want to prioritize based on our communicable disease plan, where it would be to plan to vaccinate our police and our fire department? Or do we want to vaccinate our seniors? And if there's anything left from 65 and above, we vaccinate the police and the fire department. I just wondering if I could get some input on what is the thought that council may have.
I guess if I could offer my preference of the vaccination of the elders, I guess, and proceed down to the 55 mark. And then if there's any left over, then we would look at the vaccination as you suggested to the fire department, the volunteers, etc.
Okay, anybody else have any other thoughts, or are we good to go with that?
Kyla, can you hear me?
Hi.
What about the people that are younger than 55 and have underlying health conditions?
I knew that was going to be a question. And the answer to that is because these initial doses that are coming out are Pfizer and Moderna, they're good for people who are over 65. The AstraZeneca hasn't been approved for use in people over 65 because it hasn't been tested. So that's where these initial doses of Pfizer and such, that's where I would put the priority on the seniors, just based on that fact alone.
Okay, thank you.
Right now, yeah.
So we're going with the 65 and older first?
Yep.
And then what about the elected council here that are under that age? I think they're important. They're the government.
This, I don't need it. Super skinny.
Order.
From a community standpoint, I feel like that was not what that.
65 and older?
No, like the council.
Well, as the governing body, I think they usually take precedence because this is the body that has to make decisions, and then we're all falling by the wayside.
I'm just stating the point. I'm not arguing. I'm just saying.
Oh.
What's probably.
Because we have all these young ones here, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But Kyla, you could expand on that. We did get assurances from the deputy minister that there was going to be an increased rollout, I guess, within the next 14 or so days there to cover everybody up, is it not?
Yeah, and the other thing is that there's vaccines or vaccination clinics that will be going on off reserve, that will include First Nations individuals. And if people don't think that they will be vaccinated fast enough on reserve, there's nothing really stopping them from calling up and saying they're First Nations people. They don't have to say that they live on reserve or anything, and they can go in and get appointments ahead of the general public in those clinics that are off reserve.
I think the thing is that they don't perceive any long delays, I guess, once the vaccine initially rolls out, that there is going to be any long delays, I guess, in terms of supplying shots for the whole community here. So it's just getting that priority on that first rollout, I guess, that first 1,800. If we go with all the elders and come work our way down, I guess, is the way to do it. Ron?
Yeah, I prefer for myself, I don't have to have that. And what I'm saying is people that have more health issues, which are elders, and people that have severe health issues should do it before, people that aren't as severe, I guess. That would be my preference. I feel like myself, I could wait just to have a similar testing recommendation as well.
Yeah. And it's not anticipated to be a wait more than 3 weeks and stuff like that.
It's been a whole year so far.
You'll survive.
The other thing is we could just immunize quorum.
Kyla?
Yeah.
I think we've got a gathering consensus here that we would start with the elders and work down.
Sounds good. That's all I needed. I just, because we did have the communicable disease plan in place and we have been following it somewhat, I just wanted to make that adjustment and get some backing as to why we're doing that, or just some support as to that we can do that. My other question is just a quick question about if we are to do like one of the mass clinics, or like I would prefer to do like over a weekend, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of thing. When does the ice get out of the arena?
Usually in April.
Is it shut down now?
Oh.
on the agenda. I'm gonna ask you to decide that.
What we do is answer a question.
You can do it now. You want us to address the ice? Kyla?
Yeah, I was just wondering, it would be really easier if we had that space. It's just with these vaccines, it's not a really simple vaccine to run through. Like if it was a regular flu clinic or even a regular flu vaccine kind of thing, we could run people through fairly quickly. Like we have that ability. It's just the temperamental aspect of this vaccine and the fact that anybody with any type of anaphylactic or any history of allergies, they have to wait for 30 minutes after the vaccination. So that's the part that really slows the clinic down. Like we can go through the consents quickly, people can be immunized quickly, but then they have to sit around for a half an hour if they have an allergy. So that's where I was wondering if like how much space we could get use of in the arena just for basically observation of people after vaccination. And I was just wondering if we're using the ice, if we're not using the ice, need it in there.
Go ahead, James.
Well, the recommendation in my report is to remove the ice immediately because of the restricted use we have under red. Right now, we can't allow scrimmages. We can't have more than 10 on the ice.
We obviously can't rent it out.
Well, actually, there was an offer from Minor Cross to rent it out for $3,000 a month. So that's what we had suggested doing. We were going to take the ice out.
That would be awesome.
We can
And-
authorize her to, her immunization clinic, whatever you wish to call it, on the ice pad, I guess, once it's clear.
And I wanted to bring that to council, right? Because there's some cost savings, more efficiency in taking the ice out now, but I didn't, you know, it could be a political decision ideas that way, so that's why.
Would you like a motion right now?
That's what it is.
Can I have a mover and seconder to authorize the taking out of the ice, I guess, that's Marina. Moved by Burton, second by Cody. All those in favor? Okay, we got the ice out of the way. Carry on, Kyla.
All right. That decision right there just made my entire day. That'll really help us do our mass vaccination clinic. That was one of the concerns that the partners had noticed or indicated was that we needed more space for just observing people. With that space opened up, I'm pretty sure we can do the 1,800 in a weekend or within 3 days, and then get the rest of the kind of like stragglers through appointment through our office. The other thing is people may have noticed a spike in the last little while of the numbers that are going up. They're coming back down, just so that you're aware. And it's just a matter of contacts of people who happen to be positive. And generally it's family, close contacts kind of thing. And a lot of the test results we were kind of expecting and we weren't surprised by. And I think we're pretty well under control with that. My next concern would be variants. I know that a lot of people are saying that we're looking at a potential third wave. I really don't think we're out of the second wave yet. Our numbers haven't come down. They're coming down around the world and things like that, but they're still not where they were in the summer or anything. With the possibility of the variants, those are kind of game changers. And depending on what happens with those and the increased transmissibility of the variants, we have to get people vaccinated right away. That's why I'm looking at the mass clinics. And then we'll have to take it from there after we see what happens with that. I think that's about all I really wanted to bring up at council, unless anyone has any direct questions.
Questions for Kyle? Marcia?
I just wanted to know, is it possible that council could get information regarding the COVID numbers directly on our emails? We hear from the community first that the numbers are going up, but we have no information. They're asking us, and I see where to get that information, and it's on the WIFIC or something that I don't really go on when I'm home. Who creates that information with the numbers?
James can answer that.
So what we can do, before we send out Facebook alerts like that, including the daily numbers, we can send an email to council and senior staff, so that you'll see that first, so that once the community members see it, you'll already have a little bit of time to view it.
And they're just gonna be basic numbers, there's not gonna
Right.
be any ID attached to that.
And as soon as our numbers change, James and the chief are informed. I tell them of any increase, or well, I don't really tell them of decreases, but I tell them of any increases and keep them up to date. And that's before anything's changed on any websites or anything like that. So as soon as we get a positive report, I send a quick little email or a text and say, hey, we got 3 new active cases, or possibly an active case. Contact tracing is done. We're not looking at a big number. We're not anticipating more people. I send those kind of emails and texts all the time as we get new people. So I'll just send it to James, and James, can you just send it as you think is best, or do you want me to send it to everybody?
What?
Send it to James.
Yep, I can disseminate it.
Thank you.
Wait, Tyler's got a question.
Has there been a decision made on, Wellplan Elementary going with the regular March break or the April break?
That's another decision by my report. So if we do that now, we'll get out of here really fast.
I'm just wondering what Kyla's recommendation would be based on her professional opinion. Can I ask that? Kyla, I was just wondering what your opinion would be on the March break situation for the elementary school, whether they should move it to April or keep it the same here on Mont Platte.
I was all for.
Kyla, the recommendation.
That's in our report.
For your information, Kyla, the recommendation to council is to have March break come directly after Easter.
Yeah, I got that information. I spoke to Kathy and Russ, and I'm not sure who else, but I was for that, because I really think it's a not a good idea to keep taking the kids out, putting them in, putting them out, putting them in kind of thing, and keeping them in a controlled environment as much as possible, rather than being at home, possibly visiting, playing outside, sleeping over, what those usual March break things that happen. So I was in agreement with that idea of including it into the Easter time.
Any further questions? If not, Kyla, thank you for your update, and we appreciate all the good things you're doing for our community, and keep up that good work with your team.
All righty, thank you very much. Have a good meeting.
Thanks.
Sayonara.
How do I get out?
Okay. Somebody mentioned about the March break. Let's do that real quick there. What do you got there?
So there is a briefing note. I think Dr. Kathy snuck some other information in there as well, but the recommendation is.
Is it consistent with Kyle's recommendation?
That's correct.
And I have a mover and second to that effect now.
Question.
Marcia.
Okay, so some families have children at the elementary level and at high school level. So high school's on a different. The province has, changed theirs to April, not April. Is it April? The week following, the week following,
The week after Easter, so the
Right.
Easter break, you'd have the Monday off, there'd be 4 days, and then the break.
no, they want the Thursday before that off too, Tyler. The Thursday before Good Friday. And then go all the way the next week, until the 9th, which is the Friday. But the province is giving the 12th to the 16th, so you're gonna have some families that have 2 different breaks.
And then exams fall for secondary students that week of just after Easter, so after that Easter Monday, exams for high school students happen for their third quadrimester. So if the kids are at home, I know a lot of, when I worked at high schools, at the high school, a lot of the high school students would have to stay home before going to work.
Right.
And they would end up having to do their siblings, which creates conflict, especially when exams are going to hit. So just, there's lots of variables to take into consideration. I know the health and safety is priority, and I agree with that, but there.
Is this a lose-lose?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Jane?
Yeah, I think, respectfully, I'm leaning towards, having the same March break as the province because of the impact on some families that would have children in the Easter school.
Is that your recommendation?
That's my recommendation.
Do we sync with the province? Everybody understands that? We would have our schools take the same breaks as the rest of the province.
Off to the 16th of April. So there would be no break in March. The break would be April 12th to the 16th for both elementary and secondary.
Yeah, secondary, they're sitting in the province.
Whatever it is, we're consistent with the province.
Yes.
Second to that effect. Moved by Burton, second by Tyler. All those in favor? Are there any objections? Abstentions? Motion is carried. Okay, moving on with my report, to finish this off, the top, address the top bullet point. The second one, assisted with decision making and providing direction for well planned cast for a project that is moving along. We've hired the manager for the project, and they're in the process of reviewing job descriptions, and they will be advertising position. The manager is Emma Logan. She used to run the gas station in Bradenton. So she'll be the gas station manager, and she'll be looking at hiring on the other staff in conjunction with the interim board. The interim board consists of the incorporators. The incorporators are myself and Ron. And as soon as we can, we're going to get out of that role.
And she's a band member, but married into Marine Tech.
I know she's married. I know she's married into Bradenton. I don't know if she's still a band member or not.
I don't think she, but she's from Wapawana.
It's beside the point. She's from Wapawana.
Yes.
She's one of us.
Yeah.
Let's see, last project minute should be attached to this. The target date for the soft opening for the gas station in the convenience store is the end of March. I'm going to, here's a new twist, I guess. I'm going to discuss with the project team the merits and costs to include at Tim Hortons Express, much like the one they have in Arabian Town. Here's the reason behind that. We need an additional draw for this because, as you know, we're going to hammer a little harder on the gross profit because we'll have labor there. We've got people pouring gas as opposed to people just walking up and pouring it themselves. So we have a little bit higher overhead. What we're going to need is an additional draw there. So I'm thinking that perhaps a Tim Hortons Express with a small operation that they have like at library in town. Because the fair is going to open, it would be good to offer your last chance at a Tim Hortons and some gas, I guess, before you cross the border. And then when you come back across the border, it'll provide the shop master with the opportunity to grab their first Tim Hortons and some gas at our gas station. That's the reason behind that.
I got a suggestion.
Yes.
Just to help out in this role. I was driving by there today and I was thinking of maybe producing a commercial for it, doing a filming and promoting it that way.
Get right on it.
Okay.
Need some actors.
Yeah.
Or some free gas. Moving on to the next bullet. We received last week initial briefing on external projects and some related political issues that must be addressed. We're going to be dealing with this tomorrow evening. Namely, one of the issues that the hydro extension there from, what is the location there, James, on that, from Chadwick to Lakeshore? Yep. And what we're finding out, I guess, over the course of time, that there is now equity positions being offered to other First Nations. And the one that really disturbs us is the amount that is being offered to a non-territorial interest to the Six Nations. They are more or less benefiting from our territorial rights there. And we don't get any benefits, I guess, in terms of their projects. So there's no reciprocity there in terms of getting any type of financial interest from their projects, but they're getting financial interest and inclusion within considerations for ours there. And this might be a misinterpretation of the one dish with one schooling concept of tribal sharing being thrown out of context by the provincial and federal governments and certain governmental entities. And we do have a copy of this. I don't know if everybody's received it yet. It's an explanatory paper that was developed by Dean and Victor. How do you say his last name? Okay, there it is. And maybe Inez or Alicia, you can circulate this to the rest of the council for their reading enjoyment. It's very well put together, and it sort of illustrates why this arrangement time. The context is now been totally blown apart by the province in particular, I guess, in terms of offering interest to other tribes and within our traditional territories. So we really have to put on a very strong political pushback against these types of incursions into our traditional territory and the equity positions that are presented to us that should be coming to us primarily as the beneficiaries, as opposed to slicing the pie and become thinner and thinner, and we only get 3%. And I understand that the Haudenosaunee, we're getting 9%. Within that, to me, is a slap in the face, I guess, in terms of our territorial interests. And we're going to get a little bit more on that presentation tomorrow from Vic, Kim and Fullerton. And they're going to be here tomorrow evening. And as I mentioned, to be discussing strategizing with Janet Macbeth, Dr. Dean Jacobs, and Kim Fulton, who's leading the charge on that from the legal side. Next vote, received initial briefing and update on Waffle Island's recognition of Indigenous rights and self-determination governance discussion table. That again will be discussed as well and strategized in the same group. That will be tomorrow. At the same time, I think James may have left the room at that when we got the update on the Enniskillen, but they're going to provide us an update on that particular claim. There is, I understand, a bit of an offer on the table around, I'll leave that amount for discussion tomorrow. And again, that's going to be highlighted by Kim, Dean, and Janet. Update on the homeless shelter. As you know, the former Anglican rectory is starting to get use, and community support. Community support is really good in terms of donation. I know that my sister-in-law had provided a substantial of the weekend in terms of clothing and winter wear and stuff like that, and that is very appreciated. Plus, we understand that there's food and other clothing donations coming from other members of the community. There's really getting some positive traction for the support of that shelter.
Yeah, how long is that? How long is that planning? Is that going to be open all year long? I know there's some guys that were hired. I think it's only going to be a week job. Wondering why you guys fix up the building and hire all those people. It's only going to be open for a month.
Well, we're definitely going to have to review the situation at a certain point in time there. Obviously, we're going to keep it open for the very cold part of the winter there, and we don't know how long the winter's going to last. But we will look at the situation and formulate extended costs, I guess, to keep it operating. And if it makes sense to provide continuing shelter for the homeless, then that will be brought back. We'll give it approval and maybe even look at formalizing the annualized budget for that purpose. That will be dependent on the number of people using it. Number of 5 to 7 at the current time. That's using it on a continuing basis, which is good. We'd rather have them staying there than trying to keep warm and the freezing nights that we've been experiencing lately. And I'm glad that they're taking advantage of that. We're also getting donations of food and coffee, etc., like that. So the community is starting to provide the necessary support for this, and I think speaks well for the oversight provided by council. Go ahead.
People have been asking about they want to donate money to, so there's a chance for a homeless foundation or a fund. That window too, I've been approached about 15 times in the past week. People want to donate fund homeless shelter. So there's that aspect.
Can we have James and Arlene look at setting up the appropriate fund, I guess, an account, and all the necessary mechanisms to provide oversight on that? Lee and Tyler.
I was told that they were getting so many donations that they started refusing. I'm not sure if that is there anything where also are they going to refuse those donations go other than the homeless shelter if they were refusing it? I thought you guys looking at somebody brought in, I'm not sure if it was tables, chairs, or something.
Well, go ahead, James.
And I think word's gotten around in Wallsford as well, and I've been getting calls from people, okay, I have a garage full of furniture and I'll give it all to you and try to give you a ton of this. We could look at her, I think we could use like terms of the table.
Well, I think there's not to lose too much sight of that, because we are looking at considering, fixing up another site, I guess, and maybe we'll have a site for the women and one site for the men, because I do understand that they're both located on the same site now, and perhaps that's the best of circumstances. Tyler?
Well, I was just thinking real quick here, you know, how they ask you like to go and donate $1 to, Walmart and stuff. We do that at the store, with the grocery store, we donate $1 to open up homeless, type of thing. And just off the top of my head, I'm thinking of it, so.
We'll get James to a kettle there.
Sorry.
Well,
Marcia?
I agree, Walmart should work with us about donating to the Waffle Island Homeless Shelter. They're always asking me to donate to the Children's Lunch Program, and I said, you know what? I would love to do that, but you don't provide anything for our Waffle Island Lunch Program. So I have to support Waffle Island. But they should be able to take money for Waffle Island homeless, just like they're securing money for lunch program.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, just thought of like, you know, trying. We're gonna have a lot of options.
We'll make those efforts. Lucille, our consultant of issues for the next session, dealing with the nation building agenda and a couple other items of reorganization of our governments and administrative operations. And I know that James has been working on some pieces there with Lisa Armstrong, and that will be coming forward shortly. We'll begin with that in the first part of March. That is the balance of my report. The other one was we covered off the Kyle. So can I have a word second on my report? Moved by Cody, second please. Second by Ron. All those in favor? That is carried. Moving on. We're going to council's portfolio items. Marcia had a number of items flagged. One dealing with the concerns about the Nashville cement work. I guess that business, which is being perceived as a scam.
I have, yes, there are 14, yes, they're going to be considered elders that were I'm saying we have surplus cement here, and we can do your driveway for $2,000 or whatever. They say go ahead, the cement is not, I guess, what they would use on a hybrid. I don't know if you sort of lock it down. It does be set, and it's, when you walk on it, it carries stuff into the house, it's not a mixel. What can we do to ensure, before they used to do, we need some references, you know, a member of better business, you know, and stuff like that. Because our elders are taking the person called me, so they did some checking after the fact, because of all the problems they're having with their driveway. They couldn't find this company anywhere. So how can we?
I think the protocol's still there, is it not?
The protocol. I mean, we can always look at formalizing it more.
some individual to go tap those people on the shoulder, if you get the proper. If you're not, then you conduct that within our territory. But I guess we have to put a little bit more measurements on that approach. I guess the onus is on us to be a little bit more vigilant in terms of those types of activities within our community, to take steps to question them, to see if they have approached the administration for authorization.
Yeah, usually people say it's waste and maybe, so I would say, talking about community control and, or you say community control, like we had before, they could be tapping people on the shoulder or whatever, if you got these sort of protections, really on site, in the marshes or whatever. And this,
I think it has to be monitored, and then, I know our police are probably, stretched to the limits now, but this brings into, play our, laws. When we assert our sovereignty and, then we are able to make our laws. That's something we have the power to do, that authority to do, but we're not doing it. And then when you make a law, then you have to have an enforcement part to that. And that's where we have no enforcement other than the criminal or the provincial offenses. There isn't anything to enforce our own laws, and having elders being taken advantage of. We have to do something. I don't want to just bring it forward and then sit for 12 months or till the end of our term. These people are, they're playing on the emotions and the kindness of our people. And they're being taken advantage of, and that's not acceptable. So that's why I brought it forward, to speak on your behalf.
Well,
yeah, I get it, I hear what you're saying, loud and clear. But this isn't the first time that's happened. I don't know if you recall, I feel people having and trying to get them a competition rate, and a lot of people got up for that. And they ended up paying thousands of dollars because they signed these contracts, which they thought they were locked in at a rate they weren't. And some of the people, I don't know if they're still in the hawk for that, but they signed the contracts. How they get a lot of it. So there's a lot of things that go on, and the protocol is they come and check in, they usually just sign them. Where you have to check in, you go to the band office or the governance board. That's no longer there. But that should be sent through an email or whatever you want to say outside of the community. If you're going to do business here, you go check in, right? And if that doesn't happen, and that's why you have the community control, go check, make sure they check in. You have the letter or whatever, you're not, then you leave, or have police come charge you, that's what you're. That's the process it should be. And I mean, we can sit here and talk about all that, but we need to do something now. And that's part of it. And with that, you can have those people doing other things as well. Because you have people going to the dump, learn stuff out at the dump. People stay here, you all see it. You know what goes on. You gotta have people everywhere. So without that, it's not gonna happen. So you need to do something now. That's part of the solution. We have people that are trained in law enforcement, or law security as a training aspect component. They want to be a police officer or other types of person. It's good.
James, but
I think one solution, if we had a business licensing bylaw, and the community was somewhat aware of it, on a complaint basis, we could publicly enforce it. And the city rarely see or tell people because they do need a license, and they get in trouble pretty quickly. once word gets around that you do need a license from the administration to go door to door, I doubt we would give out very many. We probably, I think in the cities, they hardly give out any, right? But it does the job, because if somebody starts doing that, they can be fined.
I think there's already a provision in the Indian Act, I guess, that deals with hawkers and other individuals, and that they're supposed to report into the chief and council or the, I guess the old language is Indian agent, I guess, to get authorization to solicit, I guess, who's in there. And that's still there, as I understand it. We're still operating under the confines of the Indian Act.
So it may just be a matter of educating the community and possibly.
I think the onus is enforcement. Whether we create our own law or we use the Indian Act or whatever, it's the enforcement aspect, I guess, that's really dragging anchor here, I guess, in terms of helping us to provide the necessary protections. I guess that's where we're gonna have to develop our real discussion in terms of identifying, what did you call that, chief or Ron?
Community control.
Community patrol, yeah, to look at providing some type of budget for that activity and individuals to provide that service for us. I don't have any difficulty in supporting that, as long as we get that developed in the budget and some terms of reference and opinions, I guess, in terms of their capabilities and what they can do there and scope of services. Okay, continuing on, there was some concern with flyers as well. I remember, who was it? Inez sort of mentioned flyers. Real estate, there was I guess a lot of you are aware that there's flyers being circulated within the community, identifying, I think, really crude, raw and written flyers, yeah. They're not very professional, so right off the bat, you kind of question, I guess, the legitimacy. Asking for homes or property, I guess, that they can buy off individuals for cash. And what I see as that is a scam, I guess, a backdoor scam to try and get banking information off individuals. And what they're going to do is rifle your account by giving them banking information, because I suspect that they're not going to offer out a check or cash. We're going to ask you, we will settle with you and we will wire your or e-bank your the amount for your house to your bank account. But when you give them that information, they're going to do the reverse. They're going to try in every way to be tricking the book to zero balance your accounts. So again, it's the same thing that we have to be vigilant and provide information and education to our community members that these are not legitimate parties, I guess, wanting to do business on the reserve because they haven't gone through the necessary protocol of checking in with the band office to get that authorization, so we can do the due diligence and check them out with the Better Business Bureau or whoever to see if that they're back to legitimate people that they're in businesses wanting to do business on with authorization.
Yeah, somebody had posted on Facebook, 3 of them that they got recently. He was posted this yesterday, and they all state, it says, don't forget to pay a $1,000 referral fee to anybody that connects me with a homeowner that is looking to sell. So there's lots of cash grabs within that. That is, okay, well, give me your banking information and here's your $1,000, right? And it's really easy for people to kind of give into that. But they're all, you're right, they're just all scam letters. They're all real estate, looking to sell your home. There is numbers on here. Community patrol to call these numbers and get as much info as they can.
Give it to the chief of police to home for sale. Well, I guess if you were up on the Indian Act, I guess, and you would realize that they can't realize on the purchase because only band member or status Indian has status with this land can actually make good on a sale. Somebody from off reserve can't buy your property. You can find out and actually get money from them. You're the one who's going to be scamming him because he's going to be able to get title for them for that property.
As a band-aid, I guess as a solution right now, are we able to send out a flyer from chief and council saying, you know, you're getting these things and this is not something that you should entertain, as well as the people like the cement man, and that, that we maybe assign an employees of the band somewhere to be kind of take that lead and check into these things and give those that number to our members and say, call this number if you're approached with these types of requests.
Was going to be my suggestion that we hand this over to our in-house legal people, Arlene, to investigate that in terms of the legitimacy of these flyers and to follow up with the necessary legal action, I guess. The presence of drafted up to give it like a legal warning, I guess, that all these approval and screening.
They have service where they will for their flyers back and those are comparable to it. And get the first reading. And it may just be a discussion between the pros and the cons. We need to back.
Just don't deliver them to your house. Driveway places like that. They have laws on the front of the truck. It's like mutual money. There's a snowfall. We start, I guess, doing that for free, basically, through van budget or whatever van equipment. Then we're taking away potential business for them. But I see the merit of your point, I guess, in terms of these seniors perhaps don't have any money to do their driveways, etc. And where do you strike this balance, I guess, in terms of not infringing upon an entrepreneur that has got a plow on the front of his truck and wants some money every time there's a heavy snowfall. So I guess that's the question. How do you deal with that? Suggestions, James?
My suggestion would be to pass a motion requesting staff report for the next regular meeting, and we can put some options.
Before me? Yeah, because we've also gone through most recently some issues, I guess, more imagined than real, I guess, in terms of band equipment, doing our own parking lots and the legitimacy or some liability issues. Now, we start doing that for individual laneways and personal property. What are the liability issues there when in fact our public works and Tugani Enterprises won't supply that service to the plaza, to in the buildings or down at social services. To the extent that now that we have to contract on the island here to provide plowing services, which is ridiculous. I believe that we all exist under the same umbrella here in terms of an organization, whether it's Tugani Enterprises or Public Works, and that they should be supplying that service products, I guess, to the various banned buildings, because it's all banned underlying all of that. I don't know what the issue is. I think it's more imagined than anything else. So, you will find you will work with the staff, I guess, and find a way around this. Any more?
No, I think that was it for this meeting.
Okay. Community observations. I did receive a written note from Deb Naughty late in the afternoon, and I hadn't had the opportunity to review it. But I want to have that table done with the council. She has had some problems with individuals coming up into her driveway and making threatening types of and she feels threatened by this, and it's happening on a continuing basis. And her issue, I guess, is that she contacts our local police, and at times they don't respond, or they take an hour to get there. Comfort, I guess, in terms of saying that they will just drive by occasionally. But I'll let you read her report there, and we'll pick it up as a point of business at our next meeting in terms of doing a little bit more research on that. Maybe you can take the time, as well as individuals, to have a conversation with them to get circumstances. But we'll come back to that. I just haven't had adequate time to fully address it. But you will get copies of that. Moving on to council report. Chief, Ontario Special Chiefs Assembly, February 3rd and 4th. Is that your burden? Yeah. Okay.
With some thoughts here for discussion or just update, I guess, for council. This one, Ian Thompson also listened in. She has some comments or question, I guess, of the meeting, the first time attending one of those meetings. My notes are pretty basic. I guess there's a few things that one thing I'd like to highlight is, I guess, there was a low attendance for the meeting. First day we had a quorum of 18, second day we had a quorum of 22. And then got a couple of notes here. Chiefs of Ontario has a prosperity table. It's a fiscal relationship between the province and the Chiefs of Ontario. And there's discussion to secure from the province $150 million for First Nations to draw from the specific needs with respect to development. Note 2 is this one stood out to me. There was a review conducted by the Chiefs of Ontario for all of their assembly resolutions from 1975, and there were 2,581 resolutions, and out of those 2,581 resolutions, 2,510 have been found to be inactive, which
means it was never acted upon.
So that copy, and I know this happens because, PTO, or any coordinating in Ontario, Chiefs of Ontario was created in 1975 for the sole purpose of generating some kind of common stance on issues. The first coordinator was a guy named Johnny Esno, and then a couple of years later they hired Lucille to be the first executive director for the Chiefs of Ontario. She basically created an ongoing funding source with the funding sources to have this coordinating body and train the process to generate resolutions and briefing notes and so on, that kind of stuff. But I'm flagging this simply with the point of to point out that the reason these resolutions, this is my own observation, the reason these resolutions don't get implemented is because they're done in a forum without the full council approval. It's a delegated representative from the First Nation. Chiefs, delegation obviously, but those the time makes or the process or the circumstances, those resolutions don't come back to the respective councils. And the only way these resolutions would in fact meet or have traction to be implemented would be if every chief and council represented by every chief's vote endorsed the resolution and then play that back to the chiefs of the assembly saying these resolutions are in fact modified because of all the First Nations elected officials endorsed. That's that very, I don't know that
Milligrams of food in till Friday.
issue.
You were supposed to take yeah.
Higher the resolutions of the second First Nations, the finding would be the same, I'm sure. So anyway, that's a point of reference. There's a couple the resolutions in assembly. I've asked the Chiefs of Ontario to send all their briefing notes to the respective I guess departments, they call them sectors, but also what's happening is, let me take one step back here. The Chiefs of Ontario was created by us, endorsed by us, and it functions at our behest, and it's kind of gotten away from us because they've taken on work primarily through service dollars. The Chiefs of Ontario, I think, operates with like a $14 million budget, with a number of staff and so on. So basically, they're doing stuff at our request. But if we looked at our own operation here, how many of our departments and staff can say we can do the same stuff as the Chiefs of Ontario? In other words, we have X number of policy analysts, we have X number of staff who interface directly with the federal provincial government contacts on a regular basis. In other words, can we say that we can do everything that Chiefs of Ontario does? We don't need them. In other words, the big complaint I'm hearing is that the service dollars operating without our necessary endorsement. We get some benefit from them, even though the Chiefs of Ontario use operating dollars, that kind of stuff. For example, if you look at Resolution 6 here on the resolution from the Assembly, Ontario Federal Bilateral Engagement Process for Education is approved. A lower process, $5 million in education because of how the monies are distributed. So Ontario region withdrew, and fairly soon after we withdrew, we recouped $5 million in education because we went bilateral. So that's why we joined the Independent First Nations, which is the
got a briefing on that. To basically have a more direct access to those funds than we would necessarily do through the Chiefs of Ontario. So anyway, open for discussion or questions, unless Bree has a few comments to that. I didn't get the chat. What was your impression?
Maybe I just want to add that I didn't even get to the resolution. There's an in-camera each day, and the second one, it went on for like hours.
Almost 3 hours in
Yeah.
time session. Yeah.
So I didn't even get to the resolution. It was already 3:30. But for my first time, it was a lot of information, a lot of presentation, and just going on. And it was, for me, it was more for insight because I asked for him to read the property. But yeah, so I think you're going over the chief that we're gonna do, right?
Yeah, the quorum is double that. Double the quorum is one vote higher than double.
So I looked on how many participants there were over 100. So that was chief counselor, senior executive. But throughout, I was
Tell me, was that type of communication format, is it very mind-boggling and very hard to keep track of all these individuals that are potentially out there with the ability to grab the mic and put their hand up for attention purposes? How does the chair handle that, I guess, in terms of identifying who has the floor to address the issue?
The Zoom host was actually pretty good because you could, like Cody will tell you, as I have been Zoom meeting, the host recognized and commented the question that he had immediately, just by Cody raising his hand or whatever. So the host, for both meetings was excellent, I thought. And then the chat line, you can actually, they call the chat line too, it's so it was pretty interactive. I thought it's not my preferred way of running a meeting. This is a better atmosphere for that. But they pretty well nailed down the Zoom process in both areas.
Tell me, with the chiefs assembly, there was a very hot item, I guess, in terms of, maybe it was one of the ones that was discussed on camera, about the issues that Roseanne Archibald has with Perry Bogart and the operation. And there's some very heavy accusations going back and forth, I guess, in terms of misappropriation of funds, I guess, conflict of interest and potential employment contracts up there, and using spending authorities to their advantage to utilize contracts for special favors, et cetera, et cetera. Do you have any insight, I guess, on those discussions?
Covered it pretty well. There's 2 points. One point is AFN has received funding to do a review of their operation, their financial capacity of their operation. It's money that they applied for and they got it. But in the meantime, our seat, our vote at AFN board, which is the regional chiefs, they vote on contracts above 50,000. So AFN operations, there's a lot of contracts up under 50,000 that the board doesn't have to deal with, according to the existing process. So that's why there's a review going on as well. So all that kind of come together at a perfect time for certain other issues that it was in camera. There's certain things that I guess can be discussed in camera. I suppose, yeah.
One of them is isn't Bellegarde accused some actual work there?
Yes, 150,000. chiefs in the assembly at this particular meeting is that, we have to really emphasize the necessity of this, review of the AFN expenditures, as a top priority, and also that, these kinds of things, have to become transparent as a result of that process. So, that resolution that you referred to will actually hit the floor at the AFN Assembly this summer, which is, proposed by the Mississaugas and Credit in Toronto. And, this resolution will come forward to the floor because the AFN will move on it, I'm sure. You know, so, and it's an election year. Elgard is not running again, so there'll be a new national chief in that assembly. Because against this kind of thing, that may go against, in terms of votes, you know, I think she took the right stand herself. I endorse her that this is the right move to make. We have to call these things as we see them. We have to be transparent about this kind of. There has to be integrity. Yeah, exactly. She's very good for taking a good stance on this. Yeah. So those are a few things.
Have a motion to accept, Griffin and,
Question.
oh, okay.
How do we access the prosperity table? That $150 million.
Well, the dollars aren't on the table yet. It's one of the tables that the Chiefs of Ontario has in place, and they're sending us a list of the delegates who actually sit on that table. For some reason, it's full. We have the full roster of delegates. So I've asked the Chiefs of Ontario to send us that list of all those tables and who sits at the table and who they represent, and that kind of thing. I haven't seen it yet. They're supposed to send it to us. So I'll keep on them for, well, I guess we'll keep on them for that. But there are other tables in play, I guess, where dollars flow, I guess is a better way of saying it. Yeah.
I guess it's good to know who's on those tables because it always seems that independent, especially us, we never get to see any of that stuff. And independence is always going to be involved in some kind of a secret one nation, one First Nations per se. And it's not fair also because some of the independents like and the Iroquois Confederacy First Nations, they get a crack at it from the AIA Act, from their own band as a big First Nation, or the Confederacy itself. So they get one of those tables, she's at, and then get things, and not picking on, but that's just the way it is, right? And same thing what happens with man and tree, they all get to do that same on meeting. So we're one of the ones that don't get to do any of that type of things. Not that one of the party chiefs in Ontario, but we should have a bigger lift than what we did.
I guess one of the things too related to this type of, I guess, membership, whatever you should call it. I guess we're gonna have to do some type of evaluation, I guess, in terms of our ongoing membership with the independent First Nation body there. Are we getting any type of value out of it, I guess, in terms of time and effort? Or are we better just to be sole independent with rocks and rolls and
yeah, the other meeting vote is on the IFN meeting that Cody and I attended, and highlight a few things. The first point voted under the introduction is I asked the IFN staff to send us all the documents that were used as reference in the meeting, and they sent them to us, and each is loaded onto our With and I compass, and each counselor can look at that for reference. A lot of the discussion was around service delivery and so on. There's a few things that I would highlight here. Those tables that you were talking about, there was a few spots available. The Chiefs of Ontario Justice Committee, the chief has put forward Ron for that committee with respect to policing, and Valerie with respect to bylaw enforcement. So the IFN chiefs endorse our two candidates to sit at that justice committee table, and then the Chiefs of Ontario Restructuring and Oversight Committee. The chief has endorsed me to sit on that committee. That particular committee is doing exactly what you mentioned. It's assessing the capacity of the Chiefs of Ontario and the benefit it has to the membership. What's the best interface that individual First Nations can have in the Chiefs of Ontario structure? We essentially don't make much of a limit, if you will, as an individual First Nation, the way it functions right now. It kind of runs away on us with all these resolutions that are never implemented. So there has to be a better way of that body. Foremost paramount in that process from that coordinating body. And Ron made this observation before, the Chiefs of Ontario functions like a PTO, IFN functions like a PTO, which is true. IFN is like functioning on a $8 million budget right now. Assembly of First Nations functions on a $40 million budget. And it's a lot of that is basically service delivery interface, flow of dollars interface with federal and provincial governments and corporations and so on. Without really getting to the meat of the issue, jurisdictional and sovereignty matters, which is really what every elected official should be focusing on. When Lucille and I did the review of the Chiefs of Ontario in the 90s, when we talked to all the First Nations in Ontario, one of the things they wanted was an entity called the Political Confederacy. And that was an entity that was supposed to address specifically that nation-to-nation issues and responsibilities, jurisdictional matters. And by the time the report was approved, the Political Confederacy wasn't even that anymore. It became sort of like a check for like almost like a Senate function to the Chiefs in Assembly. So the Chiefs in Assembly essentially deal with all these resolutions that really are never implemented because they're primarily bread and butter issues that never come back to the First Nation anyway. We're going to go about our own individual business to try and secure those dollars. So anyway, that's why I was interested in that committee, to see if there's traction or where we can move that along to that political level.
Go ahead, Ron. Just that question is the political confederacy and how that each operates, because each one from the PTO was like an executive to say right now, right? Only the Grand Chief of Ontario. And what I found was they were doing stuff where nobody knew any of the elected body, right? They were moving the space as they so chose, and they were hogging up all the space with lobbying efforts and talking to the bureaucrats and so on and steering what things the way they wanted. I think that's something that has to change. That's what I was saying. That IFN or the independent used to have that revolving chair, a lot of that. And so one First Nation that might be small didn't have the same needs as us or whatever, but they weren't dealing with our treaty rights either, which becomes problematic as well in their sovereignty issues. So I think it does need to be looked.
And I think what was alluding to is, over the course of time, both the Chiefs of Ontario and the AFN, for that one, IFN, their primary focus now is on the full dollars, as opposed to really with the political agenda things in terms of dealing with developing programs that emanate and address sovereignty or jurisdictional issues, and that's why we have a lack of traction with the policing agreements and stuff like that. The process becomes a whole game unto itself in terms of membership and unwillingness, I guess, to complete it.
Please get some, thoughts on that. No, it was a pretty, very interesting meeting. It was a nice, 2 days of, indulgement. Whatnot. It really, opened my eyes about our own financial system and how we didn't have an audit ready. Everybody was listing off their audit band by band. And we're one of the three that are behind. So it opened my eyes to get on our own financial system. And opened my eyes to see the funding that's available out there. We have a lot to work on as a team to get everything as a solid structure. Right now we're kind of operating in Play-Doh form. It's not really concrete yet, so it was really eye-opening to sit there and listen to the discussions. Emails from some of the representatives and guests that were there. They got back to me and said they're really looking forward to future ventures. And myself, it was an interesting 2 days.
Okay, if there's no further questions, excellent reports. Could I have a mover and seconder for Burton Brienne's report back on the Chiefs Fund Ontario Special Assembly? Mover, please. Moved by Cody, seconder. Second by Ron. All those in favor? Carried. Can I have a similar motion for the report back from Burton and Brienne? Cody, IFN. Mover for that? Moved by Ron, second by Lee. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you for those reports. Okay. We're moving on to land-based learning project, task force meeting minutes. Anything special in them? Mover and seconder for those minutes? Moved by Cody, seconder. Second by Tyler. All those in favor? Carried. .3, Walford Lacrosse request. I guess we're getting into our question of our ability to approve of gaming activity. Tyler?
So that's what I said. Ken O'Neill, who is the president of Walford Lacrosse, called me and asked if they would be allowed to sell their Nevada tickets at the gas station. I emailed everybody the previous approval or supportive approval, I guess, by Chief of Stokeman to have them at Walpole Gas Park, but then it changed ownership, and then that kind of fell to the wayside, and then COVID hit, and everything else kind of fell to the wayside. So he was just asking if they have their own gaming license. They used to sell them at O'Flynn's convenience store, which is that convenience store across from McDonald's. Haven't had a spot to sell them, so he was asking if they could sell them out of the ticket room.
Questions?
Is there anything that, for the island of it?
Well, I don't know. I could ask them because it's a support for this, like all the money goes towards the paying for, the equipment costs, stuff like that, travel fees, whatever else. So it all goes back into the organization. I could ask if they did to O'Flynn's, and then
Yeah, and like I say, because once the gas station is open, it's gonna be overloaded with people trying to sell.
Yeah.
Scratch tickets, Nevada tickets, whatever it is, and maybe make sure that it's us first before Wellsburg. Not to say, you know, I know one tries to do stuff, but I was like, no, anything, but for who are the kids who walk away, but who are in Wellsburg across.
Yeah, like my son's there and nobody else, so, yeah, I can bring that to him and say, if there's any contributions that are given back to him, like, I do know that they are planning on renting out the facility, which will be a big bonus for the arena here. But again, that's all gonna have to revolve around the COVID, administrative stuff. I can do that.
Good. I got Ron, then Marcia.
Yeah. Well, I've known him for a long time, so, and he asked me the same question, but I told him I didn't know when the gas station was going to be completed at that time. Kind of like, I didn't know if we're going to have our own people selling their own things out of there as well. But he also did say that they do, what you're talking about is having things here, but I know he does clinics here on that, for some of the kids, free clinics and other things, so this in transition. So he told me the same thing, but trying to get at the seventh generation of gas station, said no, so that's.
I guess my thoughts on the amount of, sorry, Marcia's next. Go ahead.
So it's Ron, you is this request every year and it's been granted every year for to sell these Nevada tickets?
He's never done this, as far as I know, this is the first time he was doing it.
Yeah, so they sell them, he was selling them on a Wallsburg actually, at Clinton.
Okay.
And when that shut down, he was just trying to find another spot.
Because there was a letter here given to, allowing it.
Yeah, and that was from previous council to the Wallflower gas station when it was owned by Harvard Chavanage. And then when it changed ownership to Gen 7, they were the ones that didn't want to.
We've already exercised our sovereign rights by allowing, sale of these tickets, correct? For gaming. As support for, study for his, legal, position. So what's the issue?
Well,
I know a lot of this money comes back to the.
well, just that our members are giving a fair share, if not the first priority, and then moving towards other organizations. But then the other argument is that Ken and Wallsburg Hockey, or Wallsburg Lacrosse does have, geez, I'd say like 30% at least are First Nations kids. And then he does, like Ron said, he does hold free clinics, and I can tell him to hold more free clinics if need be, like support. And he's gonna rent out the facility. He said he'd do it right away. He wanted to get it in there and make it meanwhile, just as soon as it was done out, so he started looking into it. Sessions.
I think the comment I was going to make is that, I would grant it for a review because, I don't want to have him compete with, Waffle Interest that may want to, sell tickets and, have, worthy causes to fund, whether it's minor baseball or, minor hockey on Waffle Island or figure skating that, would require, Nevada ticket sales to support their activities. It's nice that we have, participants are our members, but I think we have to think of our needs first, and And our kids are 100% behind our kids in terms of minor baseball or girls softball or soccer or wherever else that we want to.
So could we go play, like you said, go seasonal?
We could try that 6 months.
Clear time frame and then make sure walls for, like baseball and summer sports, local island, figure skating, all have their equal share of their.
Usually come back or baseball comes back or whatever. Would Wallaceburg let us do that in Wallaceburg? Response is not very good, so I can just imagine how people out here are gonna look at it and right away they're gonna say, Wallaceburg, why is Wallaceburg across the there's stuff out here when there's numerous businesses and places in Wallaceburg? Like what is the goal of selling them here? Like I know there's a lot of kids playing there,
I
but
think his ultimate goal is just a spot.
just to make money for
the organization,
Yeah, like I said, we get this COVID stuff done. There's so many good sports and organizations out here that are starving for cash. And that's gonna rub people the wrong way. I think you see the Wallaceburg, Nevada tickets that's just my opinion. I've done it and I know the backlash. I know how people think when it comes to letting somebody from somewhere else come out here and do things.
Yep.
That's a legitimate concern, but my heart, I guess, would be the fundraising for our own minor sports here, I guess, to make sure those dollars, those limited dollars to stay here, I guess, for our benefit there. But I do recall in the past that there was some type of lottery or gaming commission here on the reserve that provided authorization for those types of things. And my understanding is that they drew in all of the revenue from Nevada ticket sales or other types of games of chance, even with bingo. And they made the decision as to where those monies would go. A certain portion would go to minor baseball, minor hockey, figure skating, etc. And all those fundraisers would be authorized by the local Waffle Island Gaming, I forgot the proper name was. But Ron probably recalls that.
Yeah, it was the Walt Club, Gaming Commission or something like that.
Something similar to that. Whatever happened to that?
They disbanded because, well, they didn't get out of going as further as they wanted to. It was kind of, some of them resigned. We had 2 people trained it, I think, maybe 4. One season now. But yeah, you can do that, and that's the thing, that's the premises of having a gaming commission, we sell licenses, or having goes to those types of things, whether it's being a chance of selling bingo tickets, scratch tickets, or having your own lottery or whatever it is. You get portions of that money, you can get into any of those things. We're kind of looking at the small potatoes of the flow tickets, and the big money is the gaming commission and selling licenses to different organizations and such.
It has to cover everything. It has to, you have to say lacrosse, you have to say baseball.
Well, if it's a gaming commission, they'll
Yeah,
cover it,
it's gotta
they gotta apply.
everything.
They gotta have.
Or you're gonna get somebody coming back and saying, where's mine? You know, how can you get considered, like, the one year with figure skating, but you didn't get any of the Ramadas for all the little NHL players that would go. And then they wouldn't give any figure skating or the soccer players, but they would give all the hockey players that money. I had parents come up to me and say, how come, even though the figure skating was only $6 back then, you know, why can't we get that share? It's like another NHL player. So if you can open up, like I said, like I said, you know, I heard it has to be for everybody involved first. You know, I understand Kenya and I understand his thinking, but, you know, I think it has to be.
Well, I agree. It's, you can't deny or speak against the cause. It's a good cause, but at the same time, we have to realize there's only a certain amount of scratch ticket dollars out here, I guess, in terms of people that want to buy those things. And a certain amount of revenue, I guess, that can be generated from those sales. Where do you want to go? Do you want 2/3 of that to go to Wallsburg and only a 30% benefit our people? Or do you want to sell tickets that 100% provides benefit to the minor sports of Waffle Island? I guess that's the question of the problem. So
what I'm saying is it's up to individual organizations to get their butt in here and buy for those who raise that money and buy those. It's there. You can put it here, you can have a bunch of pots and say, which one you want to buy from. I mean, it's up to you guys, whatever that organization wants to do. It's not up to us here to say, we're going to do it for you, or somebody else is going to do it for you. If you want that money, you're going to go get it. That's what you go all year round. It's not just seasonal, it's all year round.
What my thought was always to have a recreation committee or department cover all that for all the sports out here. And you have to do it together and have somebody in control making rules. Because if you don't, here it just goes. And then it gets nasty. And so, I mean, if there's not a control, a board, a committee that oversees every aspect, every sport, every kind of fundraiser we can do, that's what it takes. I've been trying to be one of those for years. But like I said, trying to do it individually, there's not enough cash out there to support everything that goes on there.
You're volunteering for our new gaming commission?
No, well, yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't mind doing that, but it's just one of those things where I think, I would be part of it, I'd be glad to be part of that, but, in saying that, I've heard this all through the years, and it's difficult to address everybody, because the only ones that usually come are the ones that are interested or got kids involved.
Yeah.
And that's great now, and, recreation to me is non-competitive sports, whereas you have people that do competitive sports. There's two different things like that. So recreation is giving people taste of different things of what's involved in sports or day-to-day activities or whatever, right? So on and so forth. Whereas if you have competitive sports, it's just like an athletic club where you have many different sports and you have those people participate, whether it's baseball, soccer, hockey, whatever. You should be like an athletic club where you're constantly doing a fundraising boost for the community if you're doing that. So it's kind of two different things. That's just my opinion, because you're giving kids a taste of different sports or different things they might like, where they wouldn't do that elsewhere. Kind of like an extension of school. It's my opinion.
Okay, what's your pleasure here? We want to have a vote on the request or what? I guess I'll force the issue. All those, I'll take a mover and second to grant Ken O'Neill's request for the scratch tickets. For 6 months. Moved by Tyler, second by Marcia. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Me was opposed.
You go opposed?
Yeah, opposed.
Okay. Opposed? Carried. For 6 months.
I was thinking about throwing in an additional, there's a right to remove it any time. Let's say if something pops up and, okay, well, we're gonna have to go with these guys. For that.
Well, we were operating like a commission, and we were demanded 33% off the top.
The next 6 months too, there's gonna be all these sports.
That's something like that extension. So we have the 6 months with the reserve the right to, with priority First Nations members who are ready to come.
Can you also add on that? We must have some type of audit for selling these.
They have, so you want to see where the money
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Pull this resolution another way, and another interpretation there, it's getting larger and larger.
Yeah, I mean, what do I prefer?
From what I understand, we approved it with a 6-month review, and it can be pulled and withdrawn, I guess. That's for the minutes. That's carried. Moving on. Director of Operations, you got anything left in your report here?
We've dealt with everything but one item, and it's very simple.
Okay.
We are just moving the cost for the warming shelter from an own source revenue pot that we had identified in November to an external funding from the LIN, Ontario Public Health, and it's called the Community Mental Health and Addiction Small Preparedness Plan.
Okay.
There's 33,000 for staff, which will cover our staffing costs to the end of March, and there's also 40,000 for renovations. So we plan to use the 20,000 we've already spent on the rectory and move it to this fund. So that's what I'm asking.
So we'll shift those accounts.
Yes.
Do a motion.
Yes.
Okay. Have a mover to that effect. Moved by Cody. Second, please. Second by Burton. Or second by Brianne. Second by Brianne. All those in favor? We shift that account as described by James. Anything further?
The only outstanding is the amendment 43.
Anybody want to move that amendment? Straightforward. Moved by Ron, second by Burton. All those in favor? Carried. Motion adjourned. Moved by Ron, second. Second by Todd.
I think Ron has moved everything.
Carried.
Unless you guys want to stay here. Wait 50 weeks with it.
Cramped it up. We have another part, Center School budget.
Oh, yeah. Yes, there is another part.
Tomorrow, be here till midnight. I look at school board and.
We're gonna do it tomorrow before we get into our presentation. One day we'll make that much difference. Okay, thank you, everyone. We have a meeting tomorrow, starting at 5:30. Here, yeah. I believe it's 5:30.
Minute at 5:30 for you.
Right. The adjustments for me, yes, so I will be here.
Tell all those people on the screen there, if they want better reception, to come here and sit around the table.
I'm up here.
Bye. Bye.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Well, if you're offering.
I'll tell them. You know, that things come up.